On November 4th, 2018, Tamla Horsford was discovered dead in the backyard of the Cumming, Georgia home where she had been attending a slumber party with other football moms the night before. The Forsyth County Sheriff Department initially ruled the death an accident, stating that the multiple blunt force injuries were related to Horsford likely falling from the balcony due to her being intoxicated. A second autopsy requested by her family revealed further abrasions to her body. The family's attorney also stated that lack of evidence, types of injuries discovered, and mismatched witness accounts strongly suggested homicide. On February 20th, 2019, Major Joe Perkins of the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office announced that the case would be closed and that there was no evidence of foul play. The relationship between Horsford's race and her death has been a subject of controversy and debate. While the official investigation concluded that her death was accidental and not racially motivated, some have argued that her race played a role in the events leading up to her death and in the investigation that followed. If you want more content just like this, subscribe to our channel and like this video. Don't forget to hit the bell notification to receive more content just like this. Horsford arrived at the slumber party around 8:30 p.m. on November 3rd, 2018 to celebrate her friend Jeannie Meyer's birthday party. It was intended to be an all-women's party. However, two men, Jose Barrera and Tom Smith, who were married to two of the women attending the party, stayed the night as well. While the women drank, socialized, and watched the LSU-Alabama game upstairs, Barrera and Smith watched football in Meyer's finished basement. During this time, Horsford, the only habitual smoker at the party, regularly stepped out to the balcony for cigarettes. She also smoked marijuana that evening, but Myers asked her to stop. According to Myers' own statement, she had teased Horsford during the conversation, calling her the female Bob Marley and reminding her that Barrera worked as a pre-trial officer and did not approve. Eventually, the men joined the party and the group played Cards Against Humanity. Photographs and videos captured during the game show Horsford smiling and happy. She had been drinking tequila and would later be found to have a significant blood alcohol level, but according to photos, videos, and witness accounts, Horsford didn't appear particularly drunk that evening. Guests who weren't spending the night began to leave around 11:30 p.m., while those who were staying trickled off to bed over the next couple of hours. According to police interviews, Horsford remained awake after Myers and Barrera headed to bed around 1:30 a.m. The last person to see Horsford was Bridget Fuller, who was picked up by her husband at 1:47 a.m. In her statement, Fuller says that Horsford was eating a bowl of gumbo and had said she planned to smoke a cigarette and head to bed. Over the next 10 minutes, the home security system registered the back door, opening, closing, and then opening again for the last time at 1:57 a.m. Around 8:45 a.m. the next morning, Madeline Lombardi, Myers' aunt, who lived at the house, headed into the kitchen to make her morning cup of coffee. In her interview with police, Lombardi described seeing something chilling through the window in the backyard. the white dog print onesie. It was Horsford, face down in the grass, not moving. Lombardi headed upstairs to find Myers, telling her something appeared to be wrong. Forsyth County 911 got the call just before 9 a.m. On the line, both Myers and Barrera speak.
Okay, what's going on?
We had people over last night. We were drinking. Most of us went to bed. One of them stayed on the balcony. She was drinking, and we just went outside, and she's laying face down in the backyard. It looks like me. I'm guessing maybe she fell off the balcony, but she's stiff.
Okay, is she breathing?
I don't know if she's face down.
Okay, how old is she?
I'm 41. Here, hold on.
Hey, this is Jose Barrera.
Hey, have y'all checked to see if she's breathing?
She's not moving one bit. She's not breathing.
Okay.
I just try to assess her, touch her. She's completely face down in the yard. She is stiff.
Okay. Do you know if she, do you see any blood or anything where she... I'm calling the cops.
Horsford was pronounced dead at the scene and her body sent for autopsy. But even before the report came back, the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office began to work the theory that Horsford's death had been an accident, a fall from the second-story outdoor deck. The case remained open for almost 4 months until the FSCO made their official determination on February 20th, 2 weeks after the state of Georgia's medical examiner provided their final report. The FSCO pointed to the toxicology report, which tested positive for THC and clocked her blood alcohol content at 0.238, just shy of 3 times the legal limit to drive. The FCSO determined that marijuana and alcohol use likely contributed to the fall. They also noted the door alarm log, as well as an unlit cigarette and lighter Barrera said he found on the upper deck. Together, the investigators found that this evidence suggested Horsford went out for a cigarette sometime around 1:57 a.m. and accidentally fell to her death. When they closed the case, the department released the incident report and death investigation to the public, but these documents didn't provide the answers Horsford's family and friends were looking for. In fact, they only caused more confusion. How did a woman with that high of a BAC appear in control of her facilities, according to interviews as well as videos taken that night, yet manage to fall over a nearly 4-foot railing and into the backyard? How could a house full of people, some asleep for less than a half hour, not hear Horsford fall to her death right outside their windows? Could a 15 to 20-foot fall cause not only death, but a dislocated wrist, broken neck, and laceration to her heart muscle? Why wasn't the scene preserved, evidence tested, or potential witnesses interviewed immediately? What really happened when the back door opened just before 2 a.m., and why was it left open until the next morning? Horsford's body position was also examined at the scene. Most notable, when Tamla was turned over, was the fact she had come to rest face down. Her head had not been canted to one side or the other. Horsford's legs were found extended behind her, with both feet pointing to the right and her right arm close to her body. Her left arm was found extended and bent at the elbow. Friends, family, and advocates have doubted whether Horsford's injuries and resting position could be the result of a fall from the balcony. Some have questioned whether the injuries to her hands and arms could be defensive wounds, which would suggest perhaps an altercation before either going over the balcony or being positioned in the backyard. Even before the results of the autopsy, speculation of foul play had begun to spread online. This was prompted 2 months after Horsford's death by Forsyth County Court firing Barrera, who was a court officer at the time. Barrera accessed the incident report internally on multiple occasions. Hundreds of people shared the hashtag Tamla Horsford, questioning different angles of the case and calling for justice. The case was officially closed on February 20th, 2019, ruled as an accidental death. Major Joe Perkins of the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office stated that none of Horsford's injuries aligned with foul play, saying, "It was a party. They were drinking. She was drinking. Most of the partygoers had gone to bed at that time, and she was on the deck alone." On June 5th, 2020, Ralph E. Fernandez, the Horsford family attorney, wrote a letter to Horsford's husband, claiming that his team's investigation into the details of the case strongly suggested homicide. It said, in part, witness statements are in conflict. A potential subject handled the body as well as the evidence prior to law enforcement arriving. Evidence was disposed of and no inquiry followed. The scene was not preserved. He also stated that Horsford's injuries were consistent with those of a physical struggle, but that the absence of photos from the initial autopsy prevented a definite conclusion. Horsford's name and case spread across the internet, starting with protesters in Cumming, Georgia, who included her name on their signs alongside the names of African Americans killed by the police in recent years. A Change.org petition calling for the case to be reopened amassed more than 700,000 signatures, and rappers T.I. and 50 Cent shared posts about the case asking for a second investigation. On June 12, 2020, Forsyth County Sheriff Ron Freeman sent a letter requesting that the case be reopened and investigated by the GBI. He stated that the investigation was best undertaken by an independent law enforcement agency. On July 28, 2021, the GBI concluded their reinvestigation, ultimately deciding not to pursue criminal charges and agreeing with the Forsyth Sheriff's Department that Horsford's death was accidental. The tragic death of Tamla Horsford continues to spark conversations about race, justice, and accountability. Tamla's family continues to honor her memory and advocate for answers, seeking justice and closure for her untimely death.